If you've ever heard of Unravel, then it's almost certain that you know about the game's hero. He's a wool-wrapped doll called Yanni, who, as far as heroes go, is just delightful. He's an adorable, silent, quaint little creature. Yanni is about as big as a kitten, but he seems far more fragile because he's made only of cable wire and yarn. And because he's so flimsy, he's scared of pretty much everything. He jumps when he's approached by a butterfly. He's absolutely terrified of cars when he's crossing the road. His eyes, which are two big white dots of wool, are just wide enough to seem like he's permanently startled. He doesn't have any other facial features, has no mouth, no eyebrows, no cheekbones, and yet he's animated so wonderfully that you can get a real sense of his character. You can tell he's pretty adventurous for a coward, the way he runs with his arms aloft, the way he swings across platforms. He does these things with a sense of determination and daring do. He's basically the little engine that could, and it's genuinely hard to resist how charming he is. The more you control him, the more he wins you over. Unravel's developer, a Sweden-based studio called Coldwood Interactive, has put Yanni at the centre of the game's publicity campaign, and that definitely makes sense. I asked 5 other people at GameSpot to tell me the first thing that came to mind when they thought of Unravel, and the majority of responses was how cute and charming Yanni is. I recently got to play the game's first 2 levels at a preview event hosted by its publisher, EA, and I have to say, going in, I was a bit worried it would be a familiar story, you know, a sort of dainty and twee indie game that had no real substance beyond this. But from what I played, I was particularly impressed by 2 things. First of all, let's talk about the world of Unravel. Yanni was born as a ball of red yarn that one night fell out of his owner's basket as she walked upstairs for bed. It's a fairy tale-like setup similar to Toy Story, you know, things that magically come to life when humans are out of sight. What makes it work so well is how much detail and dedication has gone into designing the world that surrounds Yanni. Unravel presents this exceptionally detailed depiction of life just at ankle height. Rugs become massive stretches of carpet the size of football fields. Kitchen tables are these ominous wooden stadiums. Something as simple as a concrete step can become like a boulder that's very hard to climb over. If you've ever looked under your bed or sofa and suddenly found yourself gazing at how different the world looks from floor level, then you're going to really enjoy exploring Unravel's world. That leads me to the second thing. From what I've played so far, Unravel is a finely tuned puzzle platformer that creates very smart challenges from everyday items. You honestly won't believe how much thought has to go into opening a shed door if you're only 8 inches tall, let alone climbing over a garden fence. As Yanni moves, the twine he's made of unravels, a bit like a trail of breadcrumbs. So if you walk too far without finding any more twine, he's reduced to this gaunt wireframe figure and he can't walk any further. This means you need to explore the world to find hidden pieces of wool, and you have to actually figure out how to collect yarn that seems a bit out of reach. But that weakness of Yanni is also his strength. He can also use his wool to do a manner of different things, such as abseil down giant drops, or swing across platforms Indiana Jones style. He can also fasten his yarn onto knots of wool that are scattered throughout each level, which sort of helps him create a whole manner of tools, from rope bridges to makeshift trampolines. Unravel's challenges encourage this kind of experimentation of mixing different tools together. Actually, there's also a third thing, the music. Unravel's creative director, Martin Salin, believes that for a game with 0 dialogue, music is one of its most important storytelling tools. Music is the voice of the game, he says. The soundtrack was the first thing in Unravel that I totally fell for. It's achingly melancholic at times, it's charming and relaxing at others. It works beautifully for a game laced with nostalgia. There's an air of sadness and mystery, and that works ideally for the kind of story that Unravel is trying to tell. Having played the first 2 hours of Unravel, signs are positive so far. It may star an adorable homemade creature of wire and wool, but behind its charming exterior is a challenging puzzle platformer that seems to have all the fundamentals in the right place. GameSpot's review of Unravel will go live Monday, February 8th, a day before the game's global release.